In this chapter on tissues, you will get bogged down in the detail of the tissues. So always go back to the big picture question, which is, what are the 4 types of tissues? And that would be muscle, nervous, connective, and epithelial. This video is on epithelial alone. Which of the following is not a tissue type? Skeletal. Epithelial tissues are widespread throughout the body. They cover our organs. Remember that term, viscera. They line our body cavities. They cover our body surface. Just like the tiles on the floor in this picture, the epithelial cells are tightly packed together. These cells are glued to the underlying tissue by what is called the basement membrane. There is also a free surface, so the epithelial tissues are attached only on one surface. Epithelial tissues are avascular, meaning they have a very poor blood supply, but they are replaced quite frequently. The epithelial tissues of our digestive tract will be replaced about every 5 days. Several functions of the epithelial cells include protection. Sometimes there are many layers, and those layers can be scraped off without damaging. Secretion. Sometimes they secrete mucus or other secretions. Absorbing, excretion, and sensory reception are also included in the functions of epithelial cells. The correct answer is C. So for epithelial cells, you want to know their function, some locations, and some of the distinguishing characteristics. We'll go over the location of these cells as we cover each different type of epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissues, and only epithelial tissues, are classified by structure. They may be classified by how many layers, one or many, and they may be classified by their shape, that is flat, cube-shaped, or like a column. One layer of cells is called simple. Many layers are called stratified. A flat cell is squamous, a cube-like cell is cuboidal, and a column-like cell is columnar. This is an example. This is a cross section through simple squamous epithelial cells. You can see one single layer of cells. This is a free surface here. The cells are attached to the underlying tissue by this purple dark basement membrane. Because it is just a single layer of cells, it's perfect for diffusion. So we will see these cells in the lungs and in the capillaries. This is the same shot, but from above, so you can see how tightly packed these individual cells are. Here we have a single layer of cube-shaped cells. This would be simple cuboidal epithelium. We will find these in the kidneys. These cells are long and evenly shaped. They may be ciliated, that is, this apical or free surface here may have cilia to move substances along the surface as the cilia wave. There is a basement membrane, as with all epithelial tissues. It lines the uterus, stomach, and intestines, where it protects underlying tissues, secretes digestive fluids, and absorbs nutrients. We don't see any goblet cells here, but you would see a larger cell here, kind of a whitish structure that would produce mucus. These cells look like simple columnar, but they're not. These are called pseudo-stratified columnar. They're ciliated, but you can see that there are 2 layers here. The nuclei are kind of all over the place instead of in one nice regular layer. This is an example of stratified squamous epithelium. You can see the many layers. They're very flat up here. This is the skin. Down here is the basement membrane. Down here is where the cells divide, and the cells over time push up to the surface. As they push up, they become flattened and hardened with the protein keratin. So we can lose a lot of these cells without damaging any of these other cells. So you would see this layering or stratification for protection. Here we see a double layer of cuboidal. This would be stratified cuboidal epithelium. We see this in the mammary glands, sweat glands, salivary glands, and pancreas, glandular tissue for secretion. The double layer is for protection. Here we see stratified columnar, that is several layers of column-shaped cells found in the vas deferens, which is the tube that brings sperm from the testicles up into the body, found in part of the male urethra, and parts of the pharynx, which is the back of the throat. Transitional epithelium stretches. We find this in the kidney. So in the upper picture you can see it is not stretched out. The cells look kind of fat, and down below the cells look stretched out to allow for the urinary bladder to fill with urine. C, simple. D, columnar. E, squamous. B, stratified. And finally we have glandular epithelium. There are two types of glands, exocrine and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands secrete their substance through a duct or tube. So we have sweat glands and oil glands in our skin. Both of those are exocrine glands. Those tubes go up to the surface of the skin and open up there on the surface. So the sweat and the oil go up to the surface of the skin and are released there. An endocrine gland secretes its substances directly into the bloodstream. The pancreas is an example of both an exocrine and endocrine gland. The endocrine functions of the pancreas are the secretion of glucagon and insulin into the bloodstream. The exocrine functions are the production and secretion of digestive enzymes into the small intestines. Glands can be classified by the way those glands secrete their products. Merocrine glands release fluid products by exocytosis. You have serous glands and mucus glands. Mucus glands secrete a thicker mucus substance. Serous is more watery. Apocrine glands, a portion of the cell pinches off, and holocrine gland, the entire cell is released. An example of holocrine is the sebaceous or oil glands in our skin.